Welcome into episode number 3 of The Hustle, WagerTalk YouTube, presented by Viva Tequila Seltzer. Chris Thurston, Drew Martin, Adam Trigger here, going over NFL and college football, joined by Kelly in Vegas, Barstool Bets, and Claudia as well from WinBet as well. But let's go right around the horn here. CT Bets, follow him on Twitter at CTBets16. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Drew Martin Bets, good to be back. Adam Trigger. It was a pretty good weekend last weekend. I missed on my best bet, but fortunately the others on the show we hit some good ones. We had some good intel here. I drank about 1 million beers and Vivas on Saturday night, and then we got Ole Miss to get the job done on Monday to get the week rolling. I played in the Bruins golf tournament today. I'm feeling good and looking forward to week 2.
Good to have you, CT Bets. Glad, hey, somebody won with Ole Miss, and that's a shout out to Adam Trigger, as I was a kind of an anchor with the best bets. But Adam, good winner, man, and welcome in.
Thanks, Drew. Yeah, no, this weekend was awesome, and it's just going to be even better now that we've got NFL coming up. We got 2 days of it coming up this weekend. Really, just starting Thursday night, right on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've got football action all 4 days. But yeah, it was great. I was out. I went out Saturday night, had UCLA LSU on one TV, Georgia Clemson on the other, at the bar. You can't beat it. Football's back. Let's go.
It is back.
Oh, it is absolutely back, both on Saturday and Sunday this weekend. Yo, Adam, question right off the top, man.
Yeah.
You said you go into the bar watching the games. We can all relate to that. Are you someone that does that like regularly, or do you like to watch the games at home?
No, like that's really, I'm more of a watch it at home. I like being in control a little bit. Like I like to be able to put certain games on. I like game volume. So like Drew, I have a sports book literally within, it's a 2-minute walk from where I live. So if I'm going to watch the games, I'm usually at River Sportsbook and Casino in Schenectady, and I've got a full sports book right there. But I had to meet some people out, and it was good though. I had the 2 games I wanted to watch on. It was fine. But no, if you're asking my preference, I'd absolutely rather either be at the book or be at CT. Yeah, CT's got a great setup. I've got an okay setup here, so that's my preference.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like in a sports book, that's good. I actually like watching the games, particularly in college football Saturday at home with my own TVs, listen to the ones I like to listen to. I just think I get a little bit extra advantage. Plus, I can take notes and people don't think I'm a weirdo. I don't know, CT Bets. Where do you fall in this?
I'm with you too, Drew. I do like to be at home alone because a lot of people, as my wife would say, I act like a lunatic out in public. So it's nice being cooped up. As you guys know, I set up a nice little CT Sportsbook with about 3 TVs. Just ordered another one after my 20th Viva on Saturday. So that will be 4 TVs going, and it's nice to watch the games at home. But I do like going to the bar for a big game or 2 with the volume on as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm one for that. As we're presented by Viva Tequila Seltzer here, and by the way, good opportunity to do the first read. Viva Tequila Seltzer is a refreshing and drinkable hard seltzer. 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 4.5% ABV. Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations, as it was created with the active lifestyle in mind. 0 sugar, guys. That is great for non-hangovers the next day. So shout out to our sponsor for the show. And CT Bets, talking about getting out and having a wild time. Guys, if you haven't partied with CT Bets, follow him on Twitter. He is a wild time, whether in Massachusetts or in Las Vegas. I am privileged enough to experience both. It is always a fun time watching a game with you and Adam.
True. Yeah. We always have a good time, and nothing like, we got to watch some college hoops games together this March and then some baseball this summer. We haven't done any football yet together, Drew Martin Bets, but I am very much looking forward to it this fall. Especially, we're going to all go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Dolphins game, Columbus Day weekend, yes. Have some live action, and that will be a great time. So we'll get the air drums going, the air guitars going, and we'll be smashing bets, smashing Vivas.
That sounds fun on the west coast of Florida there. Raymond James Stadium. We might make that happen in October. We got people joining us live here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, also on the Hustle Twitter. Either way works, guys. Abby Jackson, welcome in. Sean Alvarez as well. Let's cash some winners, buddy. Leg Show Magazine saying Buffalo plus 450 on the money line against Nebraska. Christopher,
Okay.
welcome in as well. James, JT Daniels might be injured. So we'll go with that. Best bets go 4-2, Trig. UCLA, Ole Miss. Kelly in Vegas is Florida State. Ariel's under in the Clemson game. Gosh, talk about right side with that. Shout out to Ariel, our guest last week. Claudia has a tough follow this week after that one. That was absolutely right side. I fell short being an anchor on the show. CT as well. CT, man, we gotta up it this week, buddy.
I mean, Drew, I don't know what you guys saw last weekend. Right. So, yeah, was I on the wrong side of the Clemson game? Yeah, absolutely. But what I saw is Alabama here and everybody else right here again. Yep. I mean, I was off with Clemson, but Drew Martin bets, Adam Trigger. There was no offensive touchdown scored in that Clemson-Georgia game. And I agree with Adam. I do think Georgia will end up running the table, but JT Daniels didn't show me anything. And that Georgia team on offense showed me shit. That defense is lethal, but they showed me absolutely nothing. Clemson showed me nothing. Ohio State, they struggled. Alabama here, everybody else here.
I second that, CT Bets. And one guy I really I respect his opinion, Bill Connolly. He used to write for SB Nation. Now ESPN took him. And when you look at his SB Plus rating, CT, from Alabama to Georgia, that's number 1 to number 2, it's the same difference, 8.5 points, I think he had it, from Georgia number 2 to number 17 UCLA. So that's how big of a drop-off from number 1 to number 2. It's the same drop-off from number 2 to number 17. It's really not surprising. It's dominant as they look. I mean, right now, guys, just off the top of your head, would you take, Adam, coming to you first, would you take Alabama to win the national championship, or would you take the field?
Oh, I mean, after week 1, I would just take Alabama because, I mean, it's just year in and year out. They're probably going to be there, and they're probably going to be the favorite going into that 14 playoff. So, like Chris said, I totally agree with that. Alabama was one of the sides we actually talked about last week. I said I thought that they would probably cover, and they did. I think Wally said he saw a little sharp money on Alabama, and that was, I mean, they made another top 25 team look like an FCS school, just ran them out. And I just think that I agree with Chris. I think Alabama's just on another level right now, and we'll see if any of these teams can sort of play their way into being able to compete with them. But right out of the gate, I don't really see anyone that's close at this point.
We didn't even touch about. I forgot. Just how about Oklahoma almost losing the OU or to Tulane?
Tulane,
Everybody's talking about OU gonna smash everybody. Tulane's 2 inches away from getting a first down and winning that game. Spencer Rattler looked horrible.
Yep.
Alabama, different level. It's going to be interesting to see what happens these next few weeks. But
I'm with you, CT Bets. Oklahoma looked overrated. Although I will say this, Willie Fritz is a heck of a coach, and being able to recruit there in New Orleans with the talent they have in the state of Louisiana, that push up front, I'd actually look to be betting the green wave here. We do have the other side of the argument, actually, and Mike in here in the chat box saying Miami isn't top 25. That was an error. Now, that could speak to how good Alabama looked. And I'm not going to say Mike's wrong here. It's just the way that Alabama's played over the last couple of years, it's tough not to give them, kind of the nod here, CT.
I would agree. I mean, Bryce Young, Drew, I don't know. I had like a million games on at the same time. He looked like an absolute pro. He didn't skip an absolute beat. It was like he was meant to be there. Every single pass. I mean, it's just like Saban brings these guys in and he has them on cruise control. And it was just automatic. I mean, you can't argue right now with that Alabama team, defending champs. I mean, no one showed me that they're going to be able to play with them right now. No one.
Sure. It also speaks to, just quarterbacks in general. You can't put too much, especially with the unknown quarterbacks. Like some of the new quarterbacks coming in with only, kind of a COVID year under their belt. We also have what Leg Show Magazine saying Sam Howell looked even worse.
He's right, actually.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say Sam Howell looked worse too. Yeah.
Yeah, very pedestrian, absolutely. So good talk here. We'll get to college and NFL, the big games here in just a second. But Adam, throw it over to you for the recap on the sharp action we reported with the mini card here.
Yeah, so pretty much, I would say collectively we had a really good week last week. Best bets went 3-2. The big breakdown section we had went 3-0. You already mentioned Ariel gave a great breakdown of Georgia Clemson. CT gave some really good insight on Penn State. They ended up winning outright. And the other one we had there, I guess was Alabama. But the sharp info that was reported on the show. So Kelly gave a card of 5 sharp sides. Those went 3-2. Kansas State, Nevada, and under in Texas State were all winners. Navy and Missouri were the 2 losses. And then Pat Wall, the Walrus, we'll get some stuff from him a little later, but his went 5-2. UMass over, Kansas State, Alabama, NC State, and Louisiana Tech all winners. And the 2 losses were ECU by a point, and then Lafayette got beat by Texas. But what I will point out with all of those, so you're looking at a combined 8-4. All of them won at regardless of what number you got. So there wasn't even a scenario where they took a number and then, you would have come back and taken a worse number and lost. I'm pretty sure all 8 of those just smashed and it weren't even close. So awesome week for the sharp action, and the best bets come out on top. We gave some great info in the first section. Hopefully we do it again this week.
And Trig, I want to correct you for a second. Best bets were actually 4-2 because you yourself had 2 best bets. Ole Miss and UCLA were a winner. 4-2.
That's right. I counted that as the 3-2. The reason I didn't count Ariel's as a best bet is because her best bet is actually on the Green Bay Packers. It goes this week, so I'll bring that up again at the end of the show. But Ariel's still, her best bet hasn't gone off yet. So Ariel Epstein, the prop queen, follow her on Twitter. But her best bet from last week's show, Green Bay Packers. And if you want a nice breakdown of that, go on Twitter. It's still up there. You can find it. That was at the end of the show last week.
We got Austin Hill helping us with that UCLA game as well. They look good going up against LSU. I mean, how much of that was LSU not being good on the West Coast? How much of that is UCLA being good? I guess some of it still remains to be seen, but Chip Kelly's squad does look pretty good out there in Southern California. And Sean, he's ready for little Wally's Corner coming up right around the corner. Wanted to talk about some of the big games, big slate of college football and NFL all week and weekend ahead. We highlighted some of the big games for the week, and let's see if any of us have any top plays on 3 of the top college games and 4 of the top NFL games. In the big game breakdown here, we get Oregon at Ohio State. The Buckeyes opened 14-point favorites, now up to 14.5-point home favorites against the Pac-12 Oregon Ducks. We got Iowa at Iowa State. Game day is going to be there. That's a big one. Cy-Hawk rivalry, my favorite rivalry name of the week. And then Washington at Michigan. Looks like the Wolverines around a touchdown favorite or so. CT bets. What kind of tickles your fancy with these big games, man?
So I'm looking at, so obviously, as you guys know, the Oregon-Ohio State has a soft place in my heart. I have both Oregon and Ohio State over win season totals on the year, Ohio State being my biggest. Obviously, Oregon loses Kayvon Thibodeau last week, defensive end, projected to maybe be the number 1 draft pick this year. Questionable. That's obviously made this line tick up a little bit. Ohio State struggled a little bit in the first half. Stroud needed to settle in a little bit, which he did in the second half, having the best wide receiver core in the country room probably. That game, honestly, Drew, I haven't got to the window on it yet. I lean towards Oregon on the points. I think that might be a little bit of an overreaction on Thibodeau maybe being out. 14.5 points. That's a lot right there. I was high on this Oregon team. Haven't got to the window yet. Not sure if I'm going to. I do lean towards the Ducks. The second game, the Cy-Hawk game. That game is interesting. It opens 4.5. ticks down to 3.5. Now it's back to 4.5. I know sharp bettors on both sides of this game. What I'll say is Matt Campbell, I'm a Big 12 guy. I've been watching Matt Campbell for a long time. He's a great coach. I think he's been at Iowa State for 5 years now. He's done a great job with this team. But when he plays Big Brother Iowa, he tends to puke all over it. He hasn't beat Iowa yet. 2016, Iowa smashes Iowa State 42-3. The last 3 years have been much closer. Haven't got to the window on this one yet. I do lean Iowa, but like I said, I know sharp bettors on both sides of this game. The Washington-Michigan game, I don't know. I have Washington for a small amount over for the wins here. That game was a disaster last year for Montana. I'm not sure if Trig has anything on this.
Yeah, so actually, no, this works out good because that's actually the one game I have something on is Washington-Michigan, although I will quickly say I agree with CT. The only way I would play that Oregon-Ohio State game would be to take the points with Oregon. Just a slight lean there. I liked Iowa State until like a bunch of people I respect told me they liked Iowa, and I had to just kind of back off of it. But again, that one to me, typical, like kind of like a sharp spot where you have Iowa looked really good, Iowa State looked really bad. So usually I would try to probably, play for some sort of market correction and go Iowa State there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stay off that game. However, Washington, Michigan is one I put a little on this. I haven't released it or anything. It's definitely going to go in the category of very strong lean for me. And I lean toward the under here. So a couple things. Washington might be without 4 receivers in this game. I want to say maybe COVID or injuries from last week. So I didn't get to watch the Washington-Montana game because it was on at the same time as Clemson, Georgia, and UCLA, LSU. But I don't really think you need to watch it to know that did not go well for Washington. They lose to an FCS school as a top 25 team. But their offense looked terrible. Even if they have a couple of those receivers, I just don't see them moving up and down the field against Michigan. With that being said, the score of that game last week between Washington and Montana, 13-7, and Washington's defense, which is pretty good, only gave up 232 yards. Michigan, another game I didn't watch a ton of, but I think Ronnie Hill's done for the year. CT could probably confirm that. I believe he went, or Ronnie Bell, I'm sorry.
Bell, I've heard he is as well.
I think it's Bell is done for the year, so they probably lose their top receiver. Michigan ran the ball all over Western Michigan, so I have to think they'll probably try to run again here. But they're not. I don't think they have as much success running it on Washington. Cade McNamara, not a super dynamic player for me. I think he'll be okay, but I'm not seeing where the fireworks come from in this game. I took 49 earlier. It might be down to 48.5. But I have a feeling this one's low scoring, which also makes me lean towards CT's he mentioned Washington. It's drifted up to 7. I think that's at that number. I wouldn't be, running to the window to lay it with Michigan, laying a full touchdown. So
I would agree there. Yeah.
A slight lean to Washington, but I actually think this is going to be a low scoring game. I'll take under 49 here.
Yeah, I can see the under in that one as well. I mean, Washington in bounce back mode. I think sidewise in that one, it's tough in the big house. Michigan, can they win by more than a touchdown? I don't know if I'm going to trust them to kind of win by margin here, but I could see the offenses being a little slow to start. I like that under look, Trig. We did have Claudia in the back here, so I think she's got some video coming up, and we'll get her on here. Yeah, and then do you mind doing Wally's corner a little bit later there, CT?
Bring Claudia in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll get her up and ready to go with our second guest ever here, Claudia Bellofatto. Follow her on Twitter at Bellofatto TV from WinBet in Las Vegas, Nevada. Claudia, thanks for joining us. How you feeling?
Guys, I have to admit, I was supposed to be in our beautiful brand new Blue Wire studios in the wind. Instead, I'm actually literally blocking cars and I'm about to get beefed up. I'm in a parking lot, no makeup, no notes. So we're just going to kind of go with it here. I am still obviously messed up with my time zones because I thought 3 hours. But no, you guys are Eastern time, so I apologize for the appearance, but I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no makeup needed. You look just great, and thanks for taking the time to join us here, Claudia. And you mentioned, the time zones messing with you. I was the same way. I moved out to Las Vegas 2 years ago, and it took me a while to get used to, 6 o'clock is 3 o'clock. That's really tough. But yeah. My question to you, just to start it off here, is how are you liking Las Vegas so far?
Oh man, I love it. I mean, I was a little nervous coming out because I had never been to Vegas before, ever. I wasn't like a huge table gambler. Like I was never really into the Vegas scene, and I guess I'm pretty young, so I was just never really inclined to come over here. It's my 5th city, which is kind of interesting, and I didn't think I'd like it the most, but I actually do. I was in Florida before, so obviously I miss the ocean a little bit, and I'm from the East Coast, so I do miss the ocean, but everyone here is surprisingly very nice. Everyone seems to be happy all the time. It's interesting to see people drinking at like 8 a.m. and casinos and like degenerately gambling 24 hours, but it's fun and it's interesting. And, I'm here for at least 2 years, so I'm loving it.
Good stuff, Claudia. And Adam, you got a question?
Yeah, so a couple things. First, happy birthday. I know your birthday's tomorrow.
Thank you.
Second, Claudia, I was at Fenway Park, courtesy of CT Bets, gave me his tickets for Monday. And unfortunately, that was the game where the Red Sox blew a 7-1 lead.
They did.
With Chris Sale on the mound and lost 11-10. I know you're a huge Red Sox fan. This team has lost 3 games in a row. They've looked absolutely horrible the last 3 days. Errors all over the field. The pitching's getting blown up. But, we're with September 8th, and the Red Sox come into play a half game behind the Yankees and still in the second wild card spot. So what I want to know is, do you think the Red Sox, are we going to Fenway Park in October is what I want to know. Is this team in the playoffs or not?
Trig, I would hope so. This team has given me agita, as the Italians like to say, all season long, because at the beginning, I'm like, hell yeah, we're going to the World Series, lock it in. And then, of course, our starting rotation gave us all agita. And then Chris Sale was like that kind of light at the end of the tunnel, right? Because our starting rotation was all screwed up. He comes in, we move you guys down. Now everyone's trying to kind of catch up. Our offense isn't the problem, which is great. I think we have like one of the highest weighted on base average in the past 2 weeks, one of the highest home runs, 4th, I think, home runs in the last 14 days for the league overall. So it's not our offense, it's just our rotation that has to get it together. Do I think they can? I don't know, but the Yankees are struggling as well. It comes down to, do we want that do or die between the two of them? And I think we pretty much all do. If you look at the rest of the schedule, we have to win, 5 out of the 6 games with the Orioles. We have the Mariners. I wish I could predict the future. I do think we have a pretty good chance as long as we can, get that rotation figured out. But that's been our issue all season. So
yeah,
I'm gonna say yes. Final answer, yes.
No, I mean,
I'm gonna be a good fan.
I hope they do. I'd love to see some ball in October at Fenway. But yeah, Blue Jays creeping right into the race, 2 back, Mariners 3 back, and Oakland 3.5 back. It should be a pretty interesting next couple weeks on the diamond. But CT Bets, what do you have to say?
Claudia, you're a Boston girl. I'm a Boston guy here. Let's stay on the topic of Boston sports. I like Boston sports, but I like money more than Boston sports. That being said, New England and Bill Belichick does something different than we're not used to seeing normally. He breaks open the bank in free agent signing frenzy this offseason, $160 million guaranteed money to overhaul the look and the feel of the roster. They bring in the 2 best available tight ends in Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, bring in 2 stud wide receivers, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. This win total opened up back in April. I think I had the Walrus bet it for me at the win bet. Over 9 wins. It has ticked up to 9.5 now, -110. What's your feelings on the Patriots this year? Are they going to be able to get to 10 wins? Are they going to be able to get the job done? Are they a playoff team?
I had him around 9, so I probably won't touch the win total. This is my favorite bet for this first game. I'm very curious to see if all of that work that Bill did in the offseason is going to pay off, and he'll probably never do it again if it didn't. And that's how it's going to go. One of two ways. Everyone's going to be like, that was the worst decision. He wasted all that money, or we're going to go all the way and people are going to be like, Bill's a genius, So one of two ways. Which way, I don't know. This is a very different team than we're used to. I think Newton getting released and Mac being QB1 kind of takes away a lot of the drama, a lot of the confusion that, of course, we all saw as media. But when you think about the team and the guys on that roster, I'm sure it definitely caused a lot of issues for them. So to have that kind of out of the way, I think just helps in general. And Mac just fits into this offense a lot better than Cam did, and they've talked about this before. They're comparing him to Tom Brady, which you can't really do because the dude's a GOAT, and this is the first time we're going to be seeing him in this offense. And people forget he dropped down to us, So he kind of has, I hate it's so overused, but he has that chip on his shoulder. But he does. He's going to be there to prove that. I think he's one of the most prepared quarterbacks in that group. And I think Bill has, at least he has a better defense. He has a lot of the guys who opted out last year. They're back now. And in terms of free agency in the draft, Bill has kind of put the weapons around him that he needs, not quite the receivers that, we would hope for in terms of when we're looking at other teams compared. But I think they're a legitimate threat. I think people are maybe, I guess now that win total has moved up a little bit, people are realizing that they might be more of a threat than they are. They look pretty solid in the preseason. Even Cam did before he got released. But overall, I have pretty good confidence in them. And I mentioned my best bet is with them, so I'll save some of my little tidbits for that. But
Okay, for the best bet at the end, Claudia, that works. We can revisit that at the end if you want. I guess I was going to revert back to Las Vegas just because I know a lot of people are interested in that, and people, DM me all the time. Hey, should I move to Las Vegas and kind of follow this sports betting dream? I'm always like, yes. My question to you would be, do you recommend that as well? Are you enjoying it? And also, have you found any like cool spots, restaurants, little like bars in Vegas that you like so far?
I'll start by saying I saw O.J. Simpson my first year, which was kind of cool. So, cool. I don't really know. No one hated on me for that. It is cool, though, to see someone like that. But Jing, so I'm out in Summerlin. That's the thing, too. I think I tweeted this when I moved to Vegas. Everyone's like, oh, my God, you live in Vegas. You must be going crazy on the Strip every weekend. I've gone to the Strip for work and one other time with my mom. So I love Summerlin. I'm loving the Summerlin area. And that is where I saw OJ at Jing, which is also a hot spot. I love that place. But I've actually had, like you mentioned, Drew, I've had a ton of people reach out to me. A lot of Newhouse students actually, which me and Ariel were joking about, because I'm sure all of the teachers and the professors were looking at us like, oh, these kids got into sports betting. We tried to groom them for local news, which I tried for a year. Not quite my thing. I'm definitely liking the betting more. But I've had a lot of, younger students reach out to me, and a lot of kids who are graduating asking me about the betting space. And just like Ariel told me when I got into it, it is just beginning. We're just scratching the surface. The fact that we're going to have tickers showing lines at the NFL games, it is really just up and coming because we're in the middle of it. We're not really maybe noticing it as much as others, but it's such an exciting space to be in. And the fact that I'm in Vegas experiencing it kind of takes it to that next level.
Absolutely. Well said. No argument here. And Claudia, do you want to leave us with a best bet then?
I am. All right. So I did like the Pats -2.5 more, but I'm totally all in them at -3 here. At home opener. They have so much to prove. And it's not that I don't trust Tua, but the player that we saw in college is just not the same player that we saw last year. He does have better weapons around him this year. Is that going to elevate his play? I don't know. But he was playing at a 4% lower average mark than the average quarterback last year. And there's a lot of arguments you can make against that. So are we going to see the same play this year? I'm not sure. But I definitely trust Mac more than him, even though he's in his first year. I have Mac going Offensive Rookie of the Year. I am in on Mac Jones and this Patriots team. And not that I don't really like to use trends as predictive reasons why I'm going with a certain lean, but the Pats have won 5 of their 6 last home openers. So if you're into trends, into that sort of thing, it all helps with my argument here. And this isn't like a biased opinion because I really don't always go with Boston teams, but I am going with the Pats here.
I like it.
All right. Pats against the Dolphins there. Follow her on Twitter at Bellofatto TV. Claudia Belfato, win bet. Claudia, any final thoughts, final words here where they can find you? Anything else you want to shout out?
Yeah, find me at Belfato TV, my show, and I promise I usually have makeup on. I'm usually in a studio. Confused with the time zones. But every Monday, Thursday, I will have my show. This week, we had our premiere show, so you can find the link on my Twitter. But every other week, it'll be Monday, Thursday in the mornings. We'll release the links out for you guys. And the biggest thing for me is I want other people to be involved. So I want, whether you're hating on my picks, whether you're fading me or tailing me, tag us. We have this awesome LED screen up behind us. I'm going to throw the tweets up there. We really want to have fun with this. We want to have some really fun and exciting guests, former pro athletes on. So it's going to be awesome. The Blue Wire team and the WinBet team are absolutely incredible. So I hope you guys tune in.
We will, Claudia. We'll be watching you, and best of luck in Las Vegas. Enjoy it. Thank you for joining us, Claudia.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Thanks, Claudia.
Bye.
And from one guest, we're going to have to go to another, guys, after a strong Viva read here. We flavored our tequila seltzers because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with a kick just as we like to live our lives. That is Viva, strong sponsor of The Hustle, coming to a store near you. And without further ado, from one good guest to probably the most popular, best guest in the sports betting industry, the hardest worker there is, at Kelly in Vegas on Twitter. Kelly in Vegas, welcome in. How you feeling?
Sorry for being tardy, guys. I am feeling well. It's been a really long day. Been filming for WagerTalk. Got some stuff to do for Barstool later. It has been a hellacious Wednesday, and I've got tons of great information. That's why I like doing the show Wednesday nights. Also, talk about Viva. If you don't know, now you know. You need to go get yourself some tahini. It goes great on the grapefruit flavor. I'm telling you, it's the plug. If you haven't tried it, it's amazing with any citrus seltzer, especially Viva, because the tequila, the salt, figure it out.
I like that, Kelly. Good stuff. And guys, thanks for joining us on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Also, The Hustle on Twitter, at Kelly in Vegas, at CTBets16, at Top Flight SI, and at Drew Martin Bets. Please smash that like button. Over 100 people already watching, and only our third episode here. So having some success, and we really appreciate everybody coming in and joining us live with all the comments. Kelly, I know you are busy, have been busy with the start of college football season, now the start of the NFL. You were just traveling around, I believe, the last 2 weekends. You saw Kansas State and Florida State, Notre Dame. I don't even know how you made that happen, but how have your trips been to all these games?
I am so glad I did not meet you in the bounce house Thursday night
yeah.
at Boise State at UCF. I would have died on Sunday. I almost melted in Tallahassee. Great time if you've never been to a game there. I highly recommend it. Yes, very happy to go see my Wildcats get a nice win over Stanford. This weekend, I'm headed to Detroit to hang out with Johnny Detroit from WagerTalk. We're going to go to the Big House. I have never been. I will definitely be on Washington +7, so everybody in the Big House is going to hate me. That being said, we're also going to the Lions game on Sunday afternoon versus the 49ers, and I kept telling myself, I know I'm going to end up on the Lions with 7.5. This team is so ugly, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get to the window there. Also, if I bet against Johnny Detroit's both of his teams in less than 24 hours, he may never invite me back.
Yeah, that would be a tough one. I mean, going against the NFL and the college football team. Kelly, I saw you jump on Florida State, which, by the way, great bet. I thought that you would be doing that because you were just at the game. You actually, went and did that because of your handicap here. Are you going to kind of continue that into this weekend, not just going with the home team, what you're actually seeing on the field, projecting it out in your handicap?
So one of the things we're doing over at Barstool is a 3-team parlay. Casey Smith, Megan Making Money, and myself. And I gave out Florida State on there. I also gave out Florida State on Wednesday last week as my best bet on it. So I had liked it prior to knowing that I actually had 2 tickets to the game. Just so happened, one of my buddies saw it, Notre Dame fan, and goes, hey, I got 2 tickets. Why don't you come up? I picked my dad up after I landed in Tampa, extremely hungover from the Dallas Cowboys stadium event, and had a great time. Got to see a couple of the Barstool guys there. And unfortunately, Florida State did not get the money line cash I hoped they were going to. And I got to listen to my dad badger me about, why do you always have to bet the money line? Well, Dad, because I hit 3 money line dogs this week, and unfortunately, they were not the 3 in the parlay. Virginia Tech, Penn State, and UTSA. I'm hoping to replicate that again this weekend. And that is actually the reason why I was looking at Washington. I do think that there is more than anything an overreaction to how poorly they played at home to a FCS school in Montana. Montana, the Grizz, they've had some roller coaster rides over the years, but that is a solid football team. And this is a Washington team who I honestly think was probably looking ahead. They weren't prepared. They didn't practice for Montana. They were practicing for Michigan. And then who did Michigan beat? A directional school? Western Michigan? Give me a break. I think this line is way too high. I think it should be closer to 2.5. At 7, maybe I can even get 7.5. Are you kidding me? Maybe Washington can win the game. Maybe they can't, but I do think they're going to keep it close.
CT Bets, take it away, man.
Kel, so on Twitter, you were getting harassed a little bit. I think it was Sunday or Monday night. I think it was Monday
all of
night.
The nights. Listen, I have way too many hot takes not to get harassed.
So let's clarify this to everybody, because I had to chime in, and I agree with you here. Obviously, we always talk, the four of us and our other group, how you should never, ever bet college football. But a great spot to bet, to tease. You never tease college football. A great spot to tease is NFL. And you were getting some crap the other night when you said there's a lot of spots to tease the NFL the other night. And people were saying, oh, you shouldn't tease NFL. And you were saying that you were surprised the books haven't moved the teaser numbers. Can you just come in and kind of clarify what you were talking about and what people should be doing and looking for when teasing NFL?
You know, it's really tough because you only get so many characters on Twitter, right? And so unless you do these big, long threads, and I'm guilty of misspelling things, being grammatically incorrect, and not being as thorough as I should be on there because I just fire off tweets all the time. And when I fired that tweet off, I didn't mean that I was betting any of those teams. I just meant that those teams looked so obvious in teasers that I thought we'd see a ton of guys betting them. Now, a typical Wong teaser, the profitable teaser, 6-point minus 120. Now, there's some debate on if minus 130 is a profitable teaser. I do not have the data points on that. That is something I'm going to have to ask Ralph Michaels for. That being said, that is what most books charge now. Why? Because they saw that people were taking advantage of those minus 120 teasers. So what do? They jack the juice up. You want to go through 3 and 7. So the Chiefs this week does not go 3 and 7. Sure, it gets you down to a pick 'em. All you need to do is have the Chiefs win. That should scare you, number one. Same thing with the Buffalo Bills. Now, the other 3, we've already seen the BUCS get bet up to 8. We've already seen the Rams get bet up to 8. And we may see the Niners get bet up to 8 before the end of the show, because that is exactly what bookmakers are going to do. They're going to start off, every Joe Smo sports bettor is going to walk into the sports book tomorrow night or get on his app and say, just need the BUCS to win. So they're going to start a money line parlay, or they're going to bet one throughout the weekend and include big money lines. And all you got to have is your team win. So they're going to say, okay, I just need the BUCS to win on Thursday night. And then they're going to look and they're going to say, okay, I just need Wisconsin to win. I just need Michigan to win. And they're going to include all of these, minus $4 money lines and higher, including those NFL teams I just mentioned, whether it's the Rams, whether it's the Bills, whether it's the Chiefs, and they're all going to funnel in to that Sunday night game. I was surprised to see the bookmakers hadn't really gone there yet. A couple of years ago, it was the Bengals at the the Bengals were at the Seattle Seahawks, and everybody said, just tease the Seahawks down. And guess what? Bookmakers found out real quick, and they moved them to 9.5 right away. And what did the game land on? 2. So everybody that teased the Seattle Seahawks late was a loser. Everybody that teased them early at minus 7.5, I think the game actually might have landed 1. So I think everybody might have lost. That being said, the whole reason why you want to be cautious is because the bookmakers add in that little bit of extra. They call it a teaser blocker, whatever they want to call it. Whether you believe they do it or not, I'm just telling you what the bookmakers I know, have personal relationships, have told me over the years. Look, when everything starts going wrong for them, they have to protect their liabilities towards those late bettors. So those guys that are betting these parlays and these teasers on Thursdays might get a better number than those waiting until Sunday morning.
There is not a lot of people in the business that can talk like that about teasers in the NFL. Give her a follow on Twitter at Kelly in Vegas. Look at her work at WagerTalk and Barstool Sports, guys. Man, that is top-notch information. Thank you for joining us, Kelly. Adam, I know you got a question as well, buddy.
Well, yeah, I do. And welcome, Cal. We both know you're going to be on the Lions, by the way, on Sunday. We just know. You're at the game.
Listen,
You're
there's
taking
so
the points.
many ugly dogs that I already have circled. Like, I just want you guys to know see my note sheet from this week. So this is my personal note sheet. You can barely see it. Okay.
Okay.
This is my note sheet from college football bet on it and NFL bet on it. And I am just floored at the number of ugly NFL dogs that I have found this week that I already like. It just makes my skin crawl. It really, really does. So go ahead. We all know that I'm going to be on the Lions.
No, and that's awesome.
Maybe.
I've always wanted to go to that stadium. So, and I've actually never been to either of them. So I think you're going to have a great time at both. But, last week we had like a mini card. It was super popular and it actually went 3-2. So you gave us 5 sharp sides and they went 3-2 and the 3 won pretty easily. So my question is, what do you got for this week? What have you seen so far?
We have seen some interesting things. I text John Murray. As a matter of fact, I FaceTimed John Murray and Ariel this morning. And you know what? Neither of them called me back. Well, they might have called me back. I haven't looked at my phone in hours. That being said, I was looking for a card from him, but I waited too late. So I'm going to give you what a few other guys gave me, some of the sharp plays that we've seen pop up, stuff that I have personally bet. So one of the plays that I did personally bet, Wisconsin minus 25.5. We bet that one on Tuesday. Yes, I was against Wisconsin last week with Penn State. That was a spot where I thought that Penn State offense was going to play much better. We got lucky. They cashed on the money line. I think Wisconsin in a bounce back spot over Eastern Michigan this weekend. We also have seen some really sharp action come in on the Washington football team. Washington football team plus 1.5. I want to put them in my teaser. It was already down to a pick 'em. So at that point in time, couldn't get through that 3 and 7. So I did bet the Washington football team at a pick, but it was played really sharp at plus 1.5. And then VR so kindly shared 3 college football totals with me that have been absolutely hammered by his groups. The biggest one was under 53.5, UNLV at Arizona State. I'm going to go ahead and guess that's due to the inept offense of the Rebels. I think last week was kind of a little bit of a preview of that, but Arizona State should absolutely smash them. I'm thinking a 45-3 type of final looks good to me. Another one that they played was over 64.5, Hawaii at Oregon State. If you remember, Oregon State was my lone loser against the spread this week. Absolutely and utterly painful. I thought Oregon State could at least cover the touchdown. They could not get it done, let alone on the money line. And this is a Hawaii team I think didn't really get much respect after getting blown out by UCLA. This one looks like an absolute and utter track meet. The other one is going to be really interesting because I lean towards the dog here in Tulsa. It closed. It's headed towards 13. It opened 12 at 12. We saw some 12.5s, but I didn't get to the window. I'm going to take the under here. As I mentioned, he said it was a sharp side, 51.5. I do believe Tulsa keeps it close. That does correlate with the under. And this is an Oklahoma State team that I have a ton of respect for, but apparently the sharp guys think that this is going to be a close, low-scoring game.
Sure, and Spencer Sanders a little bit banged up as well. So that is some sharp stuff here from Kelly in Vegas on Twitter at Kelly in Vegas. Kelly, you're talking about some ugly NFL dogs. I totally agree with you. I might go into kind of my contest picks here. All underdogs. Not sure if you have any advice on that. Also want to throw out maybe the ugliest of underdogs here. I'm going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, laying points on the road. I can't remember the last time that happened. Houston Texans, talk about ugly dogs. You have any interest in them +3?
So if you guys saw, I did 32 NFL videos in 32 days. And full disclosure, I filmed them all in a few days. That being said, I was way wrong by the time the Houston Texans came out. I even misspoke and said Romeo Crennel was the head coach. Everybody was pissed at me yesterday. I bashed this Houston Texans team, and then I turned right around and said, of course, I'm going to take the Houston Texans +3, because when I did give the video out, the line should have been closer to a pick 'em. There was some maybe assumption that Deshaun Watson may or may not play surrounding all of his off the field issues. Now, I am not high on Tyrod Taylor, but I do think Tyrod is going to be a serviceable quarterback. I think that the overreaction here to a rookie quarterback on the road, I think this is just a little bit too much of an ask. I'm going to be on the Texans +3 with you, Drew.
I like it, Kelly. All right, good stuff. And heck, I mean, do you have any final thoughts here? You're welcome to stay as long as you want, Kelly. I know you're busy though, and maybe a best bet for the show.
We have a few minutes left.
Okay.
I have a dinner reservation.
Come on.
Go figure. There's a John Murray joke for everybody. I do have a dinner reservation at 7:30. It's called Treat Yourself. Get yourself.
Of course you do.
steak and wine. Hey, listen, it's been a really fun week. I'm going to kind of go through a couple of the other ugly dogs I'm looking at. I am going to probably be on the Cardinals +3. This is a Tennessee Titans team. I got a lot of people big mad over on Twitter. I am not high on the Tennessee Titans this year. I did bet their season win total under 9. I think that they scream 8-win team. And I think it starts off with Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray kind of springing the upset, so to speak, here. +3. Are you kidding me? It looks so easy to take the Titans on Sunday. I like the Cardinals here. Now, I haven't got to the window yet. This one was 2.5, I believe, when it did open. And so I'm kind of curious to see where we're going to land. I mentioned Washington football team I already played. And those are the 3 that I really like. There are some other ones circled that is just atrocious. The Eagles, the Jets. It makes your skin crawl. I'm not saying I'm going to get to the window on these teams. I'm just saying they're on my long list. I'm looking at them right here. I also do like the Colts +2.5. I am going to see if we can't get to 3 with that one. The Chargers getting a ton of hype this year. And while I like the Chargers, I do think they're going to make the playoffs. Wouldn't be surprised to see a 21-20 final there. Colts will definitely be in a teaser of mine. I just have to find another leg now that the Giants are up to 3 and the lovely Washington football team is going to go off as a favorite. And then my best bet that I gave out just a little bit ago on Bet On It is the Saints +4.5. It's already down to 4. So everybody's going to scream at me in the comments. I'm sorry. There's only so much that I can do as far as these lines moving in real time. I'm high on Jameis Winston. It's no doubt. We've seen the tweets. We know how I feel. I love Sean Payton, and I know he doesn't have a ton of weapons with Michael Thomas being hurt, but it doesn't matter. Jameis is going to absolutely air it out. This game looks like it could be a track meet, but being in Jacksonville is a really interesting theory here, right? Maybe being in New Orleans, you're in the AC, you're in the Superdome. Now you're asking a very northern team to go play in 90 degrees plus humidity. We've seen it before in Miami. We've seen it before in Tampa Bay. That visiting sideline, it just gets hot. And I do think that will come into play in the second half. I can see the Packers doing what the Packers do, getting off to a hot start, and maybe Saints come roaring from behind. Either way, I took the 4.5. I think they're worth a little sprinkle on that money line.
Sprinkle away, Kelly in Vegas. I like that look, actually. Heading at not a controlled climate. You're right. It's going to be hot there. Jacksonville this time of year, as you know, Kelly, being in and around the state of Florida. -4 right now. That's the Green Bay Packers. So +4. There is a couple 4.5s looking at the WagerTalk odds screen here. So New Orleans Saints, maybe a barking dog there in the Sunday afternoon game.
Absolutely. This is, I think there's a lot of barking dogs this week. There's some really short lines. I know, there's a couple of guys really high on the Cleveland Browns this week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to the window there, but I'm going to tell you right now, like I said in that teaser segment, man, it looks tough with that. Just need Kansas City. Just tease them to a pick 'em. And that scares me. So I have them as my long list as well. And then the Bears on Sunday night. I mentioned that I think that the bookmakers are going to have no choice but to adjust that Rams number. And if you want to give me +9, 9.5, with Andy Dalton?
Oh, the red rifle?
I'm going to hate myself, and I'm going to curse, and I'm probably just going to turn the TV off at halftime. And then I'm going to wake up to a barrage of text messages of you guys saying, see, it wasn't that bad, was it? No, I do think taking the better defense always plus the points. And yes, I do believe that Bears defense is not getting enough love after last season. I do think they're going to step up big this year. All the kudos in the world to the LA Rams, but everybody pump the brakes. Matthew Stafford, just calm down. He's got to learn a new system. I'm not saying he hasn't been a great fantasy quarterback. I'm not saying he's not going to be a great leader for that team, but give the guy some time, okay?
Oh man, bringing the heat here, guest after guest. Kelly in Vegas. Wow, that was awesome. Leg Show Magazine kind of throwing out the Browns here can upset the Chiefs. Revenge spot plus Chiefs lack depth past their first stringers. And, there's also I guess we could say sharp angle, Kelly. Teddy Covers has brought this up of the Super Bowl loser being a great fade the next year. You think there's anything to that?
There is, and we've seen it from years past where those teams just seem to come out flat, whether it was the Panthers, whether it was the Seattle Seahawks. That is a data point I'd have to get from Ralph, but I'm just saying simply the last 5 or 6 years to recent memory. Yeah, look at the Atlanta Falcons. It just ruined their whole next season, and they haven't been the same since.
No, it's ruined their whole decade.
I know,
20 years. 20 years they're going to take to recover from that.
Oh my God. Yeah, I lived in Atlanta when that happened. I've already moved to Central America, Las Vegas, Florida, all of that since it's happened. And the Falcons haven't been back since. Oh my gosh. You're right, Kelly. We're on to something there. Maybe fade the Chiefs is something we can learn from this. But Kelly, I think we got to get to Wally's corner. You're welcome to stay though. And opinions all the way through.
I want to hear what Wally's got to say. Hopefully
Yes.
he's allowed to come on the show and actually share some information with us. I know I got him in trouble the other day by saying that he so kindly texted me some sharp information. So from now on, apologies to all of Wally's bosses over there. Won't happen again. I'm going to keep those sharp plays to myself.
All right.
Well,
Yeah. So talking to Walrus today was interesting, getting the sharp action. He was trying to give me a top flight sports rundown on every single game instead of the sharp action. So there we go. Like we implemented last week, new segment of the show, Wally's Corner, and that's going to be sharp action that our friend Pat Wall is reporting from a sports book out in Las Vegas. He's a junior odds trader out there. So our information went 5-2 last week, no matter what number you had, like Trigger said at the beginning of the show. Going right to the college football slate, they took Pitt at a pick over Tennessee. They bet it from a pick up to -2.5. They took Toledo plus 19.5 all the way down to now 17.5 over ND. They took Michigan -3 all the way up to -6 over Washington. As Kelly in Vegas said, that number might get to 7. They took Colorado State as a pick all the way up to -6 over Vanderbilt. They took Utah -4.5 all the way up to -6 over BYU. The Holy War. I know we don't have to be politically correct on this show, but I am going to say Holy War because that's what that game is.
I can't wait to come on here and call it the Red River Shootout. Just so you know.
Oh yeah,
that is
more than welcome
Holy
to.
War. And they also took in the college football the UNLV Arizona State under 58.5. They bet it all the way down to 54.5. We do have a couple NFL plays here. Obviously, that BUCS boys game being tomorrow. When the line came out, the Sharps took -6. They bet it to -6.5. Obviously, that number is gone right now over the Dallas Cowboys. They also bet the Broncos. I think we all bet this as well. +1 to a pick over the Giants. I think that number is gone right now as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all the way up to 3. I was going to tease the Giants.
Is it 3 now?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a big move.
That's a big move there.
I think something to talk about here, Chris, is especially with week 1 with these sharp plays, is that these lines have been out forever. I mean, months now. They've been just beat to hell, and hopefully these still do well for the listeners this week.
Sure.
But going forward, by Wednesday evening, you're going to get some really good sharp numbers that hopefully have not been just smothered.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point there, Kelly. And like she just said, some of these numbers are still going to be there. Some of these are going to be gone, but we are just giving you the information here of what's been bet. That's sharp. That's come to our attention, and we're just trying to help everybody win here. So if you can find a good number on these plays, hit them. Obviously, last week we had we had good information, and they went 5-2. And we have one more for you here. They took the Pats Dolphins under 46.5. I think that number is actually still there.
43.5. I know because I just bet it.
Is it 43.5?
During bet on it. Yep, it is an under that I do like. I think we're going to see Mac Jones. I know you guys spoke with Claudia about it, and I know that you and I have a friend bet as well as Drew Martin bets.
We
that
do.
The Pats are not going to win 9.5 games, and I can't wait to cash that ticket under. That being said, I do like the Pats this week because I do think that Mac Jones is going to be limited because that's what Bill does. Bill is going to rely on his defense. He's not going to make any bonehead mistakes, and he's definitely not going to get out coached by his former coordinator. I do like that under 43.5. I know we're a little late to the party there, but that is something that I did personally play.
Kelly, I take Visa, MasterCard, cash. I know Chris Thurston does as well. That Pat's under is falling short. Sorry.
No, with Cam being out, I'm really happy about it. Listen, our good friend Uncle Ben is on it with me. I know he's watching right now, and we can't wait to take your guys' money. I'll take cash when I see you guys down here on Christmas before I have to head to the Arizona Bowl.
Ben, Nova Scotia in the house for sure. We got Tyrone saying Kelly Stewart for president. That would be a fun one.
Yeah, because I did so well being in the public eye in the past. So can't wait to try to run for president someday. Maybe we'll look at more like I don't know. I don't know what else I would do. If I wasn't betting sports, I have no idea what I'd be doing with my life. That's a great question.
I know what you would do. You'd own a beach bar on the bar down on the beach.
I mean, I might still do that anyway. I mean, that might be my retirement plan. And then I'm just going to sit there with Ben in Nova Scotia and we're going to drink margaritas all day.
Yeah, in his Hawaiian shirts.
I love it, guys. And we also got Jimmy J saying, fantastic show, everyone. Damn, Kelly is bringing it. Nice job, guys. This is a fun watch. We appreciate you joining us live, Jimmy G, on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, Hustle Podcast as well, on Twitter at The Hustle. We got our sponsor here, Viva Tequila Seltzer. Our flavors pair perfectly with our artisanal Blanco tequila for our subtle and refreshing drinks. Find Viva at a store coming to you. It is really good, guys. 0 sugar, and that helps with the hangover the next day. So what we got best bets up here. We got mailbag as well. One of the mailbag questions, actually, Kelly hit on it a little bit in the Saints game and it moving to Jacksonville. Kelly, I think you bring up a great point in terms of the Saints maybe being a good bet here. A northern team coming down to Florida, hot. Jameis Winston, maybe a coming out party for him. So maybe looking towards the Saints with the first mailbag question.
Yeah, Jameis Winston coming back to the state of Florida. Obviously, he played at Florida State. Obviously, he played for the BUCS. I think this is going to be his coming out party. I think he's going to show everybody how good he is now that he's had LASIK. Whether that was the reason why he was throwing the ball to the wrong team is something we're going to find out. But I do think that Jameis Winston's going to be a fun watch all season long, and it starts with Sunday against the Packers.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question there. We also got when will gambling be legalized in California? Kelly, I know, what a border state in Nevada. Do you have anything there?
It's always different because we see certain states just hop on board right away. And the reason why is because they don't have legislation against it, right? So Montana's never had any legislation against sports betting on the books. And they do a lot of things that are state run there. Their liquor stores are state run. They already have state run gambling pools and lotteries. So for them to come on board as a state run sports betting entity was really easy for them. We see states like Florida, where Drew is from, that are having a little bit of issues because of the way that the tribal rules are. We have some people kind of fighting it within the Supreme Court, but by all means, it looks like October 15th. California does have something similar. It does seem like they will get on board, but as everything in California, it takes a long time to get it done. Lots of red tape, lots of hands to shake. So Godspeed to those of you out there. And I'm sorry for the state of Texas because I don't think you guys are ever going to get sports betting.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, that tribal stuff really puts a nail in it, especially in Florida. Like if there's only one operator and one line, that's never going to work. The black market's going to.
I thought about that and I tweeted about it, but I do think that there will be some rules and regulations. And I'm excited that they're going to get craps as well and some other table games that they hadn't had in the past. It's kind of a all-encompassing package deal. I'd like to think that if they want to get customers and they want to take away from the either offshore or local books, they're going to have to provide a fair line and a fair number and be able to let people throw some money around. Otherwise, it's going to be a profitable entity because we know that booking games is profitable, but I don't think that they'll see the numbers they'd like to if, you're laying 30-cent lines in baseball and things of that nature.
Yeah, that's not going to work, at least in my opinion. So if they're able to not do that, it could work in the Sunshine State for sure. Trig, man, you've been too quiet before we get to best bets. Anything you want to throw out?
Not really. I definitely agree with Kelly's under on the Patriots. And there was one more question from our friend Sean Alvarez. He asked, I'm actually forgetting the question, but it was something like, is
there any sports that you avoid betting?
Me?
That's a great question.
Us in general.
Oh, yeah. I think that there's a lot of sports that I should avoid betting, but I don't. Probably baseball. I don't handicap baseball. We all know that, but I still partake, and it's just such a roller coaster ride. It doesn't matter whose information I'm getting. It doesn't matter. Baseball is sometimes the most infuriating sport. Last night, I saw that a couple of the Fade You guys said that Dennis thought that the Giants were due to lose. And, I'm looking at it going, laying 240 with the Giants. Like, that's just nauseating. I would never do that. but I did lay -1.5, -140, and
They smashed them, didn't they?
they absolutely smashed them.
Yeah.
Why can't they all be that easy? That
Yeah.
was so obvious.
It's
And
really
you know, it's just kind of one of those things where baseball, even the worst teams, we see teams like the Orioles all the time, you know, come in just so they don't get swept. You know, big underdog, surprise the world. We see teams like the Boston Red Sox. Trig was at the game the other day.
Oh God, yeah.
Huge lead, bullpen just blows it up.
Awful.
It's just those type of scenarios just make you want to scream. But no, I can't think of something. If I can find an edge, I'll bet on anything. I don't care what it is.
How about soccer? Soccer's always
If
great.
I can find somebody that was a
Especially when
consistent
Trey gives
soccer
us a
winner,
nice one.
day in and day out, and I trusted them enough, I would bet soccer. There are guys I trust for Euros. There are guys I trust for World Cup, but day in and day out of soccer, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just too much.
Edge is an edge. You put it nicely. We will bet anything. I mean, we were betting Nicaraguan soccer back.
Yeah, I mean, we were in a dark place at that time, but here we are, just thriving. It's NFL season, and we're ready to go. I want to put the past behind me.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that, you know, living down that they don't even really play soccer in Nicaragua. It's more of a baseball country. That's what always surprised me about that one. And Sean, it's a great question. You know, one thing I do is just kind of stick to what you know. But like Kelly's saying, you know, unfortunately, it's the degenerate in me. I'll bet some sports that, unfortunately, I don't know a lot about, you know, kind of the late night degenerate special. And it tends to take away some of the profits. So, hey, it is what it is. But Adam, yeah, anything here, man? And what's your best bet for the show?
Yeah, so I don't have anything else to add. So I'll go right into best bets. And we actually touched on it already, but this is one I've already played. My best bet is the Washington football team. I'm very high on Washington this year. I think they're going to win the NFC East. I really wish they'd get a mascot name, but we're still going to call them the football team apparently for another year.
I want them to be the Washington football team forever, so we can make fun of them for all eternity.
Well, Kelly usually gets what she wants, so they're probably going to be the Washington football team forever. Anyway, they finished top 3 in defensive DVOA last year, which is a really strong metric to measure defense. And I think their defense actually got better in the offseason. They drafted well. So I think you're looking at an elite defense right there, easily one of the top 5 units in the league coming into the season. And I actually think they improved offensively. Ryan Fitzpatrick's not going to probably win any awards, but he is a sort of a stabilizer of that offense. And that offense was okay with Taylor Heineke in the playoffs last year. It's not like they just couldn't score. So you've got Fitzpatrick coming in as the quarterback. They bring in Curtis Samuel so they can stretch the field a little bit. It's a decent offensive line and a decent running game. I'm not high on San Diego. I know a lot of people are. I don't see San Diego. I think they're going to go under their season win total. And I'm just not. I know, no Anthony Lynn is probably an upgrade regardless of who you put in there, but it's still a rookie coach. And they've lost quite a bit on defense. And once you get past the 2 big names, Joey Bosa and the Derwin James, they're really weak at the linebacker position, and they are just – I think they're going to give up a lot of points. I think Washington's going to be able to move the ball here. I think the defense is great on the Washington side, and you've got a West Coast team coming to play a 1 o'clock kick. I'll take Ron Rivera. I'll take Washington football team, and I would take it at pick, lay the 1. I think they're going to win that game.
Guys, I got to run. I just saw in the chat that somebody wanted to rehear my best bet. It is the Saints plus 4.5. 4.5 is still out there, and I will make sure that you guys shop around and get it, but not so much. I need to check over the Barstool Sportsbook. Make sure that it's still 4.5 over there because I will be giving that out all week long. Thank you, Hustle Pod, for having me on as always. But I got some wine to drink and some steak to eat.
Always a pleasure, Kelly. Best of luck, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Follow her on Twitter at Kelly in Vegas. Check her work at Barstool Sports and WagerTalk.com. Guys, for my best bet, I'm heading to Rutgers and Syracuse. Going with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights here. I think Syracuse, got a little bit of, I guess, a little bit too much respect beating Ohio there without their long-term coach there. In Rutgers, they're turning it around a little bit. Scarlet Knights, Big Ten program, kind of a regional rivalry going for the same recruits here. So even though they are on the road, not a tough trip here, not a tough place to play, at least in my mind. So hopefully Ariel isn't listening, and I am laying it with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, the short number of -2. CT bet 16. Where are you going, buddy?
So I was going to go to the NFL, but now that Claudia and Cal has already disclosed that they like the Patriots, I'll leave that alone. I did bet the Patriots months ago at -1. I like them to smash the Dolphins. I won't read you my whole synopsis. I'll go to college. I like North Carolina State this weekend. I bet this at -2 when it came out. It came out as a pick. Ticked up really quick. They are at Mississippi State. The line is 2.5 right now. We saw Devin Leary and this North Carolina State team roll last weekend, 45-0 over South Florida. Zonovan Knight, 165 yards, 2 TDs. I expect this team to rock and roll again. Miss State struggled last weekend as a 20.5-point favorite versus La Tech. They ended up squeaking out a 1-point win. NC State rolls. Drew Martin bets. Get back on track with my best bet this weekend. This Saturday.
Wolfpack. I like it. Yeah, hopefully Rutgers and North Carolina State giving us on track here, CT Bets. We got Abby asking to put the best bets on the screen. Actually, that's something we can do in the future. Right now, Abby, it'd be a little bit too tricky to do that. So we'll tweet them out. How about that?
Yeah, we'll tweet them out. I actually like both of yours. I like Kelly's, and I like the Patriots too. I think those are 5 pretty strong best bets there. I like them all.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, boys. Any final thoughts here, CT?
Final thoughts is NFL Week 1. Let's go. Starts tomorrow night. This is great. Got the college games going. NFL. We'll be back here next week, every Wednesday night. Love you, boys. Kelly, every week. What more could you ask for from the hustle?
Oh, absolutely. People in the chat box as well. We're going a little longer here, but guys, the guests we had bringing the heat, both Claudia and Kelly. Huge shout out to them. Give them a follow on Twitter. And Adam, any final thoughts here before we shut this down?
Can't wait to get into the NFL this weekend. We got a full slate of college. It's going to be another good weekend. And like I said, the goal, we have winning matters in our Twitter bio. We're trying to help you win. So I love to see that the info did well last week. I hope it does well again this week. Happy birthday, Claudia! Again, thanks for coming on. Her birthday's tomorrow, and let's cash some tickets this weekend.
Drew, one last thing here. There's a bunch of comments and questions coming in right now. We got to go, but if you want to tweet them at us right now, we'll answer them next week for a mailbag.
Yeah, mailbag. We'll have a little bit more time next week, guys. So mailbag will be a big section. We'll answer any questions you tweet at us at the Hustle Show Pod or at any of our personal Twitters. That works as well. At Drew Martin Bets, at CT Bets 16, at Top Flight SI, at WagerTalk, at Hustle Show Pod as well, guys. So for CT Bets, Adam, Trigger, I am Drew Martin. Thanks for joining us live, guys. Please smash that like button on your way out. Feel free to drop a line below on the YouTube channel, and best of luck with your bets until next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday football coming to you. Hopefully we helped you get on the winning side, guys. Have a fun Wednesday night. Thanks for tuning in.
Good luck.